Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we are talking week 7 of the NFL. That is halfway through the fantasy football regular season. We're already there, but yes, for some of us, it feels like we just want it to be over already.
Dreams are crushed. Injuries abound.
Unless we had just drafted our team, Jeff, we wanted. We got Chubb and Barkley and Walker, and, we'd love life, right? We'd love life. But there's some good ones there. But we're going to go through all the games today in week 7. But before we do that, Jeff, I had to do a quick shout out here to Spire Designs. They hooked us up actually pretty nicely. So first off, got this beautiful, beautiful championship trophy. We're going to give that away for one of our leagues. But even almost better than the trophy's awesome. But they hooked us up with this championship ring, Jeff. Put this thing on. Look at this beauty. Look at this thing. That thing
is ridiculously awesome.
This thing is amazing. I love this thing.
Yeah, no, that's what everyone in our league wanted. They're like, dude, hook us up with that.
It's heavy, dude, man. It's some weight to it. This is not cheap. It doesn't feel cheap. It is awesome. It looks awesome. And they hooked us up with that. You guys really go check that out. That is like an awesome thing to give away for your fantasy league champion. And it doesn't cost you much of anything. It's $25, literally it. $25. You go to Amazon, search up Spire Designs on Amazon, pull them up right now. That ring is right there for $24.99. That's it. $24.99. Free ship and free delivery. It's free delivery as well. It's amazing.
Yeah, that thing is super fun. It's something other than a trophy, even though trophies are great.
Yeah,
if you're looking
I love that. Oh, the trophy too. If you want to do the trophy, get the trophy. Either both of these are on there. They're actually cheap as can be. For that, like you add that, add that to your league dues or something at the end of the year. Like you have 12 people in your league, you add $2 to your league dues, and you guys can get yourself a championship ring every year. Give it to the champion. I think that's awesome. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
That's pretty cool.
I want to get a few championship rings. I want to win this thing, man. But go check it out. Spire Designs on Amazon. All right, let's do this. Falcons-Bengals is the first game. Bengals win 35-17. Joe Burrow played really well in this one. He was 34 for 42, 481 yards, 3 touchdowns, and ran in a touchdown as well. Just a monster game from Burrow, which he can do at times. And all the receivers got into it. Boyd, 8 for 155 and a touchdown. Chase, 8 for 130 and 2 touchdowns. And Higgins didn't have a touchdown, but he was 5 for 93. So he got 93 yards, right? And Mixon on the ground, not a lot of yards there, 58. He got 33 through the air. So 91 total yards and a touchdown. So good day for the Bengals.
Yeah, finally had a big output, which everyone's kind of waiting for. And no joke, of course, when it happens, I play him in 2 out of my 3 leagues. So what
of course, right?
Thank you, Burrow.
Yeah, it was good, solid day for them. And Falcon side, Mariota, 8 of 13, 124 and a touchdown. Tyler Algier, 16 carries, 50 yards and a touchdown. Mariota ran for 31 yards. And there's just nothing here. So Jameer Byrd gets 1 catch for 75 yards and a touchdown that leads away. Drake London, 1 for 9. Kyle Pitts, 3 for 9. Just, I like those guys a lot, but I can't start them. I mean, Pitts, you still can because it's tight end sucks, but it's rough. It's rough going right now.
Atlanta's their offense is going to be very up and down, and I think with majority down. So I'd be looking elsewhere. But hey, you know what? If you had to throw in Algier or something to, he served his purpose. So there's a little bit of value there here and there.
How about Cowboys-Lions? Cowboys win 24-6. Lions have scored 6 points in their last 2 games. So that best offense in the league thing was not true. They're not good. They're 1-5. It's brutal to be a Lions fan again. I don't know if this coaching staff doesn't seem to be the one that's going to get it done. But let's look at the Cowboys. Dak comes back, throws for 207 and a touchdown. His 1 touchdown went to Peyton Hendershot, the backup tight end. On the ground, it was Pollard with 12 for 83, but Zeke, 15 for 57, gets himself 2 touchdowns. So solid day there for Zeke with the 2 touchdowns. The Lions, there's just not much here. Goff threw for 228, no touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, Hawkinson 4 for 48. Amon-Ra St. Brown left with a concussion after 1 for 4. There was no DeAndre Swift, which up until last night, it seemed like he was going to be back, but he never did get a full practice in. So if you ever see your guys not getting a full practice in during they always say limited, just be very, very cautious of that. And this happened today. I heard of Joe, it burned Joe in a league. He didn't know that he works at night.
Yeah.
So he works midnight. He didn't see it this morning. So, but be aware of that.
Yeah, and we all know that the Lions defense is not too good. My question for you would be, how are you looking at Dallas with Dak coming back? Because really, I mean, you see that it's 24-6, but really with like 2 minutes to go practically, it was only 6-10.
Yeah, the Cowboys offense is
they didn't do anything till the end, and that's and Goff had fumbled 2 of the ball. So
so that I didn't even say CeeDee Lamb's stats. He was 4 for 70 in this one. It's kind of Dallas is not that like explosive offense we knew of a year or two ago, right? I don't think that's what they want to do. They have a good defense, so I think they're just going to try to run the ball and keep it low scoring and win. That it seems like a different mindset than they had a couple of years ago. So I'm not in a rush to go play Dak if I don't have to. Like you haven't had to for weeks, so maybe you have a better option. I don't know if his numbers are going to be big. I'd wait till I see it a little bit. But I mean, he's not a plug and play for me at all. Let's go Titans Colts. Titans win this one 19-10. Tannehill, it's not doing much in fantasy. You're not playing him in fantasy really. So 132, no touchdowns, no picks. Derrick Henry, just a solid day, 30 carries for 128. No touchdowns though. So he doesn't make it a bigger day, but I mean, he just keeps, I don't know. The guy just does it all the time like that. It's crazy. And then nothing really from the passing game. Robert Woods 3 for 26, Hooper 3 for 56. Just not much there. Colts side, there's really not a lot either. Matt Ryan threw for 243, a touchdown, 2 picks. His touchdown went to Paris Campbell, who's actually been picking up a little bit finally after, basically we labeled him a bust, I would say. And then these last 2 weeks, all of a sudden out of nowhere, he's got 12 targets this one and 11 targets last week. Before that, he had gone 4-2-2, 4-3. And all of a sudden, there's 23 targets in 2 games. Not really sure where that came from.
I don't either. I mean, Matt Ryan has been throwing the ball a lot in the past 2 games. Jonathan Taylor did play in this one, but I don't know where that came from either. I mean, it's good to see that he's not going to be, gets drafted and then does absolutely nothing. So hopefully this will be a positive one going forward. But once again, I mean, you can't, you really cannot predict who is going to score, who's going to do well in the NFL these days, I feel like, because Matt Ryan is going to be very inconsistent. We kind of knew that one, but he had a pretty big game the week before. Now he has this. So, and then if Jonathan Taylor kind of catches fire again, I would assume that it turns into the, Taylor show.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to quite make of. I mean, it kind of muddies it for Pittman as well. 6 for 58.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alex Pierce, I like him as a rookie, obviously 3 for 37. So all of a sudden it turns it into a very dicey proposition if you have one of those wide receivers.
Really does, but it's almost like there's almost too many people around now in a weird way, but they're not good. Not that the players aren't good. The offense just doesn't seem that good, even though these are some decent options. It's a weird thing. They feel like they should be better than what they're putting up there, right? They had a good game against Jacksonville, but then they go to this 10-point thing. They feel like they should be better than this, but we'll see. Jonathan Taylor he was good on the ground when he got opportunities, but they were just down, so they didn't run the ball like they should. I think they should just keep going to him. Even this game wasn't that far out of hand. Just keep running, right?
Yeah, he definitely needs more than 10 carries.
Yeah, 10 for 58. Okay, and then his receiving stat line is why I hate PPR. 7 for 27. So that's worth 9.7 points in PPR. I mean, come on, that's worth 9.7 points. How is that worth 3 points better in PPR than Alec Pierce's stat line of 3 for 37? How is that 3 points better? Did he really accomplish that? Just PPR, man. I can go off of PPR anytime. But all right, how about this next game? Commanders Packers. Commanders win 23-21 with Taylor Heineke at quarterback. And I don't know what to say. Heineke 201, 2 touchdowns, a pick. The touchdowns went to Terry McLaurin, and Antonio Gibson caught a touchdown. On the ground, Brian Robinson ran the ball 20 times, 73 yards. Gibson 10 times for 59. All of a sudden, Gibson's looking a little better. As soon as Brian Robinson gets all the carry, maybe Gibson's just not that. He's just not that workhorse, right? And maybe he's better in this role where he's the second guy. It seems like it's only been 2 games that he's done this, but he only had 5 carries last week, right? But it turned into 35 yards this one. So he has 15 carries for 94 yards, I think, in the last 2 games. So he's more effective in this, but it doesn't help you for fantasy, right? It doesn't really, even though he got the touchdown, you can't rely on Gibson in this kind of workload. It's really, really tough. But Brian Robinson isn't necessarily setting the world on fire either.
No, but if he keeps getting
20 carries,
if you get the bulk of this kind of workload, then you'll be fine.
Yep. Yeah, and Terry McLaurin, we said, got the touchdown. He was 5 for 73 to lead the way. For the Packers, Rodgers threw for 194, 2 touchdowns. Both went to Aaron Jones, who caught 9 for 53. That is why Aaron Jones is effective yet in fantasy. It's not the ground game. I thought this was going to be, I think this is part of the reason the Packers are struggling. This ground game's just not getting going. Aaron Jones, 8 for 23. A.J. Dillon, 4 for 15. I see people just keep trotting out A.J. Dillon in your lineups, and you shouldn't. You should not be just, he's not, like, bye weeks, I guess, sure, right? There's reasons to, but he's not getting receiving yardage at all. The first game he did, but since then he's gotten no more than 11 in a game. And these last 3 weeks, he's 15 yards in this one, 41, 34. I have a hard time throwing Dillon in my lineup.
Yeah, I really don't know how you can at this point.
No.
Like, unless you don't have anyone else to go to.
You could, but it's rough.
Yeah, it's really risky. And this offense is another one that just doesn't feel like they are going in the right direction. Aaron Rodgers, whatever. They're fine stats, but other than, if Aaron Jones didn't catch those touchdowns, it would look bad across the board for everyone. And there's no reason that they really should only have 12 carries, like between A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones in a game that was only won by 2 points. It just feels very, very odd to me that you don't have like primetime wide receivers. And I realize you have Aaron Rodgers, but you only run the ball 12 times, even though you have 2 guys that can, really, wear down a defense if you give them a few more carries. So I don't know. It's a weird one. The only fun part about this game for me, at least, was watching Heineke. The fact that he got another shot and he's making the most out of it. And it does feel like Terry McLaurin was loving it because he was out of purgatory for like 1 game, even though it's not like a huge stat line, but he was fired up. And that was, and man, he's one of those guys that if he had a better quarterback, he would be a very good wide receiver in the NFL.
Yep. I have him in 2 leagues and I benched him in 1 this week. So just, know when it's going to happen.
Glass half full, man. That means you started him in 1.
Right. It's true. All right. How about this next one? Panthers 21, Bucks 3. What?
Well, 2 things. First off, Tom Brady. I still feel like Tom is going to like turn this around. I feel like this is way too sad of a way to have this year go. And then number 2 is like Baker officially just done for.
I don't understand this. We'll get to the Carolina side, I guess, but the Bucks, Brady 32, 49, 290, no touchdowns, no picks. On the ground, Fournette only runs the ball 8 times for 19 yards. Rashad White, the rookie, comes in 6 times for 24. Evans had a good stat line of 9 for 96. The tight end, Kate Otten, he's an interesting one. He had 4 for 64. Godwin, 7 for 43. I just don't know. And this is weird. Just they're not getting going on offense. And it's the same guy. They have the guys. They're all there.
Yeah, it wasn't like they didn't. Brady threw 49 times, like 290 yards, and you don't throw an interception. It feels like you should have more than 3 points. Once again, it's just the NFL is so bizarre this year.
They're playing against the Panthers, who have their 3rd string quarterback, and they just traded Christian McCaffrey, and they fired their coach. I just don't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got PJ Walker, the XFL guy, right? Was he in the XFL? Yeah, I think he was in there. He was in one of those leagues. He throws for 2 touchdowns. One went to DJ Moore. There we go. 7 for 69 for DJ Moore. And the other one went to Tremble. On the ground, Hubbard got the start and he got a touchdown, but he left the game with an injury. And Deontay Foreman came in and goes 15 for 118. So if you didn't, he was picked up in a lot of leagues here at the end of the week, but he's still probably out there in some. Go pick him up, I guess. He's a starting running back, maybe. So I don't know, man. That was a weird game. How about this? Giants, Jaguars. Giants win to go to 6-1. 6-1 Giants. Yeah,
good for them, man.
I what a good coaching staff can do, I guess.
Yeah, I cannot believe it. And the Jaguars, like, I don't care. Like, they beat the Jaguars. I wouldn't, like, a little bit of clap, not a big deal. But the fact that they consistently win these closer games and they're 6-1, I am shocked that they're able to do.
They keep pulling it out. They're winning these games at the end. Daniel Jones throws for 202 and a touchdown. The touchdown went to Darius Slayton. Daniel Jones ran for 107 yards and a touchdown as well, which is impressive. Saquon runs 24 times, 110 yards, catches 4 balls for 25. Just played really well. He's good.
Yeah, he's amazing. And I do want to point out, like, Daniel Jones didn't get all that in one run. Like, his longest run was 24 yards. He really was like their second running back today. And they are finding a way to use Daniel Jones that is to his best ability, because they know that 200 yards and a TD throwing, that's kind of in his wheelhouse. You're not going to get too much more. So yeah, once again, like, find a way to win. Good for them.
Then Wan'Dale Robinson, the rookie, who I liked Wan'Dale coming into the year. He had 6 catches for 50 yards and 8 targets, all in the first half. He got hurt. He left the game, but he came back for the second half, but didn't get a single target. So that was kind of odd. So really good first half. I don't know if it's what the injury is like, but he came back, he played. So interesting. For Jacksonville, Lawrence throws for 310, no touchdowns, no picks. He did run in a touchdown. The bigger story, Travis Etienne is the guy. I mean, okay, James Robinson didn't get a carry at all, and he had 1 target, and he barely played. They said after the game, Doug Peterson said the team still has confidence in Robinson, but they wanted to make sure he's 100%. So maybe there was some kind of injury we didn't know about that's keeping him out a little bit. But this has been leaning Etienne's way for a little bit now. And 14 carries, 114 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, Etienne's the guy.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like vindication, but I think Etienne, he has a higher ceiling than even this. So I think that there's more to come. But yeah, I mean, James Robinson won't go away. I don't want people to get too
he's not
really excited. But like 14 carries for Etienne and what he was able to do with it, and seeing that big playability, that was what we're so excited about. And it looks like the guy is healthy. So I expect to see a lot more of him, and more in the passing game too, hopefully.
Yep. But you can't lose fumbles like he did today. If Etienne loses, that could start hurting him. So don't do that. Christian Kirk had 7 catches, 96 yards to lead the way for Jacksonville. How about Browns, Ravens? Ravens pulled this thing out 23-20. If I can get this for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson did not have much of a good fantasy day here at all. He threw for 120 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He got 59 rushing yards, so he makes what should have been a really, really bad day into just a bad day, I guess. But just not good for Lamar. But Gus Edwards is back. With Dobbins out, looks like for a bit, and it's just not good, man. That knee, that's just concerning. But Gus Edwards is finally back. Maybe they should have waited to bring Dobbins back like they did Edwards. I don't know. But 16 for 66 for Gus, 2 touchdowns. He was not picked up in a lot of leagues. He's only 13.1% owned. So he's going to probably be one of the top waiver wire ads for sure this week. And it's mainly because no one really expected him to be the guy this week. It was Kenyon Drake was kind of the expected one after last week. But Gus Edwards came back and did his 16 for 66. So, yeah, he's going to probably top a lot of waiver wires next week.
This week. As he should. I mean, once again, it's going to be a nightmare to try to figure out who's going to do well. But Kenyon Drake, after looking pretty good, actually, way better than I thought he was going to coming out of the gate. I mean, 11 carries for 5 yards is pretty rough in the run game. So
the weird. Okay, so on the receiving end, Duvernay led the way with, or Bateman 4 for 42, Duvernay 2 for 42. But Mark Andrews, 2 targets, no catches, no yards. Like what?
Well, he was coming in. He had a questionable designation,
and
I do think that his knee. Yeah, it's one of those where they get the win. I think he was out there as a just a dummy kind of person in order to distract the defense. But I started him anyway because how do you not? But it worried me as soon as he was like, they were talking about his knee being stiff and whatnot. I'm like, oh great, here we go again.
Not good. All right, for the Browns, Brissett throws for 258, no touchdowns, no picks. You're not using him anyway. Nick Chubb kind of had a quiet 91 yards and a touchdown on the ground, to be honest. It's just another solid day for Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt did steal a touchdown, but Nick Chubb is clearly far away and above Hunt. Chubb did catch 2 balls for 16 yards as well. So another solid day for Nick Chubb. Mari Cooper goes 3 for 74. Donovan Peoples-Jones 6 for 71, and Njoku 7 for 71. I think Njoku left this one with an injury. He had a walking boot after the game, so we'll have to see it. Crutches and a walking boot after the game, which is disappointing because he's been really playing well. So we'll have to see what that is. How about Jets Broncos? Jets win 16-9 to go to 5-2, but man, they lost Breece Hall in this one. I hate that. I mean, really, just talking about J.K. Dobbins a minute ago, great rookie year, and he gets hurt before his second year, and I don't know if he's ever going to be the same. Here's Breece Hall, man. He's starting to look really good. He had a 62-yard touchdown in this one right away. Man, it's just looking awesome. And then
I feel like we're seeing this all the time anyway, and I realize it's football, but I just want to kind of bitch and moan about it for a moment because it really is so many different players, right? And you named a bunch of them, but there's ETN is also coming back. Yeah. He was obviously hurt.
Happened to Akers, man. I don't know.
Akers blew out his ACL, or I'm sorry, his Achilles, and you're just kind of like all these
young running backs
and Swift, and even Swift in the Lions. He's been pretty hobbled by injury. It's just rough to watch all these guys go through it. And even Saquon, thank God he came back, but we weren't even sure before this year if he was ever going to be the same.
It took him a bit. It took him a bit.
Everyone was kind of writing him off last year, and he is like, a freak athlete among other freak athletes. So I really hope that he comes back and he looks as good, because that's the bummer not to be able to see his
Breece Hall was really trending upwards, man. He was looking good. It's disappointing. It's really not fun. Michael Carter then comes in with this 13 carries, but only 29 yards. He did catch 2 for 45. Garrett Wilson caught 4 for 24. They didn't have to do much. Zach Wilson only threw for 121. They get the win because the Broncos, no Russell Wilson in this one. They couldn't do anything.
What are you thinking about Michael Carter moving forward? Obviously, he's probably going to get the first crack, and he had 2 catches for 45, and he was
solid last year, right? I mean,
he was, yeah.
I have a team where I have Breece Hall, but I happened to get lucky to pick up Michael Carter this past week. Somebody else dropped him. I'll probably plug him in. I'm not happy about it though. I'm just, it's disappointing for sure. So he's going to be ranked probably like between 20 and 30 in my mind, Michael Carter, in that range. So until I see some more. For the Broncos again, Melvin Gordon, 11 for 33. Latavius Murray, 8 for 24, and a touchdown. Mike Boone, 4 for 23. Just not much there. Jerry Jeudy, 7 for 96, led the way. Dulcich, the tight end, 6 for 51. He's actually promising, I would say. He's only played 2 weeks, and he's already, showing a little bit. So if there's anything good there, it'd be him.
Yeah.
And then Sutton, 3 for 23.
Yeah, I actually picked Dulcich up before this week just because I was like, let's find out if it's going to be anything. And I wasn't sure with Russell Wilson out, but it's looking promising for the young guy. So, tight ends are hard to come by. He's probably still available in a lot of leagues, so you should definitely take a look at him.
Next up, Raiders win 38-20 over Houston. Josh Jacobs is going to be the biggest fantasy miss for a lot of people this year. 20 carries, 143, and 3 touchdowns. He's been on a tear. His last 3 games, this was 20 for 143 and 3 touchdowns. Last game, 21 for 154 and a touchdown in the game before that, 28 for 144 and 2 touchdowns. Just an amazing stretch of games here for Josh Jacobs. Playing really, really well. Derek Carr threw for 241 and a touchdown. The touchdown went to Matt Collins. Devontae Adams did lead the way with 8 for 95 as the Raiders get their second win of the year. For the Texans, Davis Mills throws for 302 and 2 touchdowns. He threw one to Philip Dorsett, another one to Chris Moore. Gets the second one. Dameon Pierce continues to be solid on the ground, 20 carries, 92 yards. And he also caught 4 balls for 25. Atkins led the way with them for 68 yards. Brandon Cooks 4 for 46. So there we go. Seahawks Chargers. What's wrong with the Chargers? They're 4-3, but they've been had some weird games like this where they just don't look good. And Justin Herbert, I'll just start with them, I guess, for a second. Herbert ends up with an okay fantasy line with 293 yards and 2 touchdowns, but a lot of that came late. He was really struggling for a while, and that was almost going to be 2 weeks in a row where he's doing nothing. But hey, he gets a couple touchdowns late. Eckler ran the ball 9 for 31 and a touchdown, caught 12 for 96 and a touchdown. Mike Williams 7 for 86 and a touchdown. Keenan Allen did come back in this one, but it was only 2 for 11. But the Seahawks are 4-3. That's one of my biggest surprises here. I mean, you agree. Most people thought they were going to be terrible. I thought they were going to be terrible.
Oh, I thought they were going to be bad. Yeah, for sure. I did not think that Geno would be able to. And we're just talking about his numbers. I mean, 20 for 27, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It is good enough to keep him going. But yeah, I mean, they're finding ways to win. I mean, it started in week 1, right? And if this team was going to be even 500, I was going to be shocked because I didn't think that they would have any sort of firepower. And then Penny gets hurt. Obviously, I'm a big Ken Walker guy, and he showed out today, so that might be the saving grace. But I wasn't sure how good that line was. And to tell you the truth, even with the Chargers, they're so up and down that I'm still kind of holding my breath. But the Seahawks are finding a way to get it done, and that's all that matters. And once again, I talk about the Giants in the same way. Giants obviously looks like they're a better team, but if Seattle keeps doing this, I mean, the NFL is so strange this year that I don't take it away from anyone at this point. If you have a winning record, you've done something right.
Right. And yeah, Ken Walker looks really good. Really good. That 74-yard touchdown at the end there kind of sealed it for him. So it was a solid day.
Yeah, but even without that, I was going to say, I don't think
he was close to 100 yards before that.
Yeah, 23 carries, 168, 2 touchdowns.
So even before that, he was close to 100 yards and already had a touchdown. So he already had a really good fantasy day before that even. So on the receiving side, Goodwin catches 4 for 67. He got the 2 touchdowns. Lockett 7 for 45. DK Metcalf left this one with a knee injury. We'll have to wait and see what it is. Hopefully it's not too serious. And then our final game, Chiefs 49ers. Chiefs win pretty easily, 44-23. Mahomes throws for 423 yards, 3 touchdowns. He threw one to Juju. He threw one to Hardman. He threw one to Watson. And then Hardman ran 2 touchdowns in. So essentially all 3 of Hardman's touchdowns were on 2 of them were jet sweeps runs, right? The other one was a little a pop pass, essentially a jet sweep as well, but counts as a pass because it went forward to him. So there's Hardman with 3 touchdowns. Jeff, did you play him in your
nope in none of my leagues?
Of course not. Why would you have?
Yeah.
Why would you have?
I just have huge numbers sitting on my bench.
On the ground, Edwards-Helaire 6 carries, 32 yards. He gets a touchdown. So if you're still playing him, he's he didn't hurt you too bad today, but in reality, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has only had double-digit carries 1 time this year. That's it. So he is definitely, and he was ranked 13th for the year. It's not real. It's not real. I would say Pacheco actually outcarried him in this one with 8 carries for 43. Edwards-Helaire, man, I don't know. I would trade him. I told people to trade him weeks ago, but if you could still somehow, I don't know if you can get anything for him anymore, but he's still fantasy-wise, he's going to be up there top 15, but it's not real in my mind.
Well, with everything happening, I'm sure there's a bunch of Breece Hall people that are getting desperate.
I'm not that desperate. I'll just give up on the year before I trade for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So Juju caught 7 balls for 124 and a touchdown. Valdez-Scantling caught 3 for 111, and Kelsey caught 6 for 98. So a lot of good stats there. for the 49ers, this is Christian McCaffrey's first game, and he did get to play a little bit, but we'll see what happens. He'll be much, much more involved next week. So Jeff Wilson owners, sorry, that ride's going to be over, I believe, at this point. I have Jeff Wilson. I was trying to trade him last week to a few people because in my mind, I just knew with Elijah Mitchell coming back. And this is even before the McCaffrey thing. Now it's really over. It's really over. Let's say Garoppolo did throw 2 touchdowns in this, one to Kittle, one to McLeod. Brandon Ayuk had 7 for 82. So Devo's 42 yards through the air, 2 yards on the ground. The rushing has not been as much for Devo lately, I'll say.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't want to. And now that you have McCaffrey, I mean, McCaffrey, Wilson, and when Mitchell comes back, there'll be a lot less reason to give Debo a lot of carries, right?
Yeah. So this is concerning for Debo, just to be honest, in general. Like this week was 5 for 42. Last week he had 7 for 79. The week before, 2 for 20. He had a 6 for 115 game. But before that, 5 for 73, 5 for 44, 2 for 14. That's it. He opened the year on the ground with 8 carries for 52 yards and touchdown. Week 2, 4 carries only, but 53 yards, right? We're looking, all right, his rushing's back. These are the last 5 games rushing for Debo. 5 for 6, 2 for 2, 2 for 12, 2 for 11, 1 for 2. They have gone away from that aspect of the game. And that's huge. Losing that is very, very big. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get better because with McCaffrey getting full work.
Well, and think about this too. If McCaffrey is healthy, they will try to get him involved in the passing game as well. Not saying it's going to take a lot away from Debo because Debo is still going to be a centerpiece there, but they have a lot of mouths to feed now. I mean, you have a healthy Kittle, Ayuk, and then obviously Debo should be number 1 kind of up there, but you add in McCaffrey now, who is a very good pass catching running back. I just don't see there being that next level that Debo was able to kind of play around in last year. I mean, I just don't think there's enough opportunity. So if you can get a king's ransom for him, if you can get like Debo quality value, I actually have no issue moving away from Debo for the year.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, that will do it then for today. We'll be back with our mailbag on Wednesday night. So get your questions in on Instagram at instagram.com/fantasyfootballprofits, youtube.com/fantasyfootballprofit. Just comment right on this video. We'll answer those questions all for you Wednesday night. I'll get a waiver wire, little waiver wire, quick hitter out for you as well before that on YouTube. So if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you go to YouTube, youtube.com/fantasyfootballprofit. Check that out. But that'll do it. We'll talk to you guys next time.